Hi, everybody. It's Eric Murray from the SugarHuddle.com. Well, another thrilling game for a second night in a row. Of course, the Packers, who were heavily favored at home over the 49ers, had to have another number 12, and Aaron Rodgers, of course, last night, or Sunday night, I should say, another number 12, of course, and Tom Brady led a game-winning field goal drive, and now it was Aaron Rodgers' turn to lead a game-winning field goal drive in a 33-30 win over the Niners. And anyways, I just wanted to do a quick recap of that game. As always, please go to sugarhuddle.com, read the article I wrote on this and all the other articles, all the other content, a lot of great content I try to do every day. And, of course, also try to subscribe to my YouTube channel and also go like the Facebook page, The Sugar Huddle, and just spread the word to everybody if you can. I'd appreciate it. But anyways, just real quick, wanted to recap it. You know, it was amazing that the 49ers, who were something like a 9.5 or 10.5 point underdog, everybody thought they'd get crushed, and they came out, and for a third straight week, post Jimmy Garoppolo, they just played so tough in this one. And, you know, C.J. Beathard, who has played real well in these 3 games when he hasn't turned it over, really did an excellent job out of the gate and led him right down the field, opening drive, scored a touchdown. And, of course, Rodgers, even with his banged-up knee, came out, and he was awesome right from the beginning. Marquez Valdes-Spalding, of course, had that 60-yard reception on a great downfield throw from Rodgers on their opening play of the drive. And then Aaron Jones, 17-yard touchdown run next play. Clearly, he was just shy of scoring because the ball was actually outside the pylon. So that touchdown got reversed, but 2 plays later, Ty Montgomery punched it in. And, of course, then it kind of became a back-and-forth thing. You know, the Packers were up 17-7, and the Niners responded right back. All of a sudden, 17-14, that's 20-14. And then the Niners score a couple times right before half, 24-20. Fast forward, it's 30-23 Niners. The Packers, they drive all the way down to the 4-yard line. I think actually it wasn't 4th and goal, it was actually 4th and 3, so they could have gotten first down. Incompletion in the end zone, great play by the 49ers defense, great confidence booster. And, of course, just inside the 3 minutes ago, the Packers get it back after C.J. Beathard throws an interception deep down the field instead of trying to be a little bit more careful with the ball and trying to get him in the field goal range. That was his only mistake of the night. And Rodgers, beautiful drive, leaves him right down the field. Greg Maben, the corner for the 49ers, gives up 3 big plays in a row. All the completions go out of bounds as the Packers had no timeouts. And then, of course, only fitting at the end, walk-off field goal by Mason Crosby, who, of course, I'll get to in a moment. But, you know, another vintage Aaron Rodgers moment, clutch drive. 49ers, you know, they had him right where they wanted him. The interception down the field was tough, and Rodgers was able to do his thing. There was a ticky-tack penalty against the 49ers that extended the drive, or else the Packers would have had to punt, and there wouldn't really been a whole lot of time left for the 49ers, so it probably would have gone to overtime. The Packers might have won anyways, but there was a holding on Richard Sherman. And any other point in the game until you get into the last 8 or 10 minutes, I could probably say, okay, you know what, you can call that. But at that point in the game, I thought that would have been a good no call, so that really screwed the Niners a little bit. But nonetheless, you know, that final drive, just getting into the final drive real quick, I just don't understand Kyle Shanahan. You have all 3 of your timeouts left. And they left all 3 timeouts on the board when the game ended. And I just don't understand why the hell, don't you get Greg Maben out of the damn game? No matter how terrible your backup is, couldn't be any worse. You know, Packers and Rodgers were gunning for him. And then secondly, the other thing is, again, with all the timeouts, why don't you use 1 or 2 of them and try to regroup? You know, you just left your guys out there. So it's almost like the 49ers just kind of gave, not the players, but like the coaches almost gave up. And Kyle Shanahan, of course, we all know about the choke job when he was the offensive coordinator of the Falcons in the Super Bowl a couple years ago with the Patriots, that meltdown. And it felt like he kind of got conservative in this one in the fourth quarter again. Well, actually, you know, I take that back because he was throwing way too much in the fourth quarter against the Patriots instead of trying to get slightly conservative and run it. In this case, I felt like he was a little bit more conservative and felt a little bit intimidated. And at the end of the day, they blew it in the fourth, and a lot of that's on Shanahan. So not a real great coaching job down the stretch, a lot of questionable decisions there. And then, again, vintage Rodgers, you know, not only had a bum knee, and that made him kind of struggle a little bit in the first half trying to drive the ball, and then he really kind of overcame it in the second half. But also, he had a bloody elbow, kind of like the Kurt Schilling bloody sock game. So, he was wearing like a long john, long sleeve white shirt, and I'm wondering if that'll get auctioned off just like the bloody socks. So look out for that for all you eccentric, rich sports memorabilia collectors. But Rodgers was great, and first of all, looking at the Niners, they're now 1-5, 0-4 on the road. But the thing about it is, they've turned over 3 times in this game. Beathard had the big interception there down the stretch. If he doesn't have all these turnovers in these last 3 games, they win all 3 games over a good Chargers team, bad Cardinals team, and a good Packers team. All of a sudden, they're 4-2, and they're right in it. But now they're 1-5, playing for the number 1 overall pick. They need a lot of secondary help. That's the main thing. Maybe they add another defense lineman, but DeForest Buckner's real good. Solomon Thomas is starting to come into his own, but he's still got a little ways to go. But they got a lot of depth issues, even when Jimmy Garoppolo comes back next year. So they got a lot to work on, and now they got the Rams this weekend, so an even bigger challenge. And they'll probably be a heavy underdog again, but frankly, they could shock some people, maybe win the game. Rams haven't looked that great the last couple of weeks. But then on the other hand, there's a chance that they'll make the key mistakes again and blow it. But overall, I was really impressed with Beathard. Had a fantastic game. And if he can eliminate turnovers, he could be a pretty decent NFL starter down the line. Seriously. Overall, they had I think 174 rushing yards, I believe. Raheem Mostert had 87 of them. So they did a pretty good job running the ball, of course. They had some nice running plays. So they did everything they needed to do offensively, but defensively they just couldn't get the job done. And, that's the difference between winning and losing, especially when you're a losing team that's struggling right now. So the 49ers, they're going to be competitive every week, but as far as the actual amount of games they win, who knows? And the Packers, I mentioned Crosby. Of course, as everybody knows, he missed 5 kicks indoors in Detroit a little over a week ago. Single-handedly kind of lost the game, basically, and 4 of those were missed field goals. What does he do on Monday night against the 49ers? All he does is make all 4 of his field goals, all 3 of his extra points for 15 total points with the walk-off game winner. He was overwhelmed after the game, talking about just couldn't believe it, and his teammates and his coaches had his back, because in the NFL, kickers are so disposable that even the really good ones can get cut at the drop of a hat. And for the Packers to stick by him really says a lot, and for his teammates and everything to have his back says a lot. So I thought that was a pretty special moment. He was very emotional afterwards, so good for him. Rodgers played out of his mind. I think he had 425 yards, 25 of 46 passing, somewhere around there, a couple of touchdowns. Also 34 rushing yards. He had a big run. I believe it was on the game, not the game winning, but the game tying drive, if I'm not mistaken, had that 21-yard run. But he was fantastic. 3 different receivers went over 100 yards, Jimmy Graham, Valdez Spalding, and then, of course, with both touchdown receptions was, what the heck's his name? Trying to think of, Devontae Adams. He had 10 for 132, 2 touchdowns. Graham, I think he had 105-ish, somewhere around there, and Spalding was just over 100. I think he was 3 for 103, and Graham was something for 105, maybe 3 or 5 for 105. He had a couple big catches too, but very impressive win. But again, the Packers, like 49ers, not a whole lot of defense. Clay Matthews had a nice sack, Blake Martinez 12 tackles, but they also have secondary issues, and they're a team that they go on a bye, and then guess what? They're at the Rams and they're at the Patriots. So we're really going to see a lot of adversity and how well this team can get tested and overcome these big tests coming up. And again, if their kicker can overcome the adversity, these guys, as in the defense, certainly can. But nonetheless, the Packers, they're right back in this thing. They're 3-2-1 and definitely have a chance to go on a run, depending on what happens these next couple weeks after their bye. But should be interesting. As long as Aaron Rodgers is healthy and doing his thing, you can win a whole lot of football games. But again, I wouldn't pick him against the Rams or Patriots, and I'm really intrigued to see how both of those games turn out, just like how the Rams play the 49ers this week, knowing that the Packers lie right ahead. Maybe it's a hangover game for the Rams, and Niners maybe bounce back and get a second win of the year. But anyways, that's all I got. That's my Monday night football recap. And again, go to thesugarhuddle.com, subscribe to my YouTube channel, like my page on Facebook, which is the Sugar Huddle. And that's it. Take care. Thank you.